All right, so here's the thing. What should we do about the 2019-2020 Premier League season? And we're going to start with Mark Keynes. Should it be canceled or not canceled? And obviously, being an Everton supporter, this is obviously really up to you if Liverpool should get the title, right?
Well, okay, so I'll address that last, okay, because that's the most fun part. And I may surprise one or two of you. But what to do about the season, it's very, very difficult. And obviously at this stage, the day we're recording, nobody knows the answers because nobody really knows at what point in time it's going to be feasible for players to actually even resume training, let alone playing games behind closed doors. And I've read a lot of nonsense about playing games behind closed doors. It's not such a big risk because you only need 30 or 40 people in the grounds. Guys, you need probably somewhere between 150 and 250 people in the stadium to run a Premier League game fully televised, because there's no point in playing it if you're not going to be fully televised, with all the coaching staff, physiotherapists, medical personnel, ambulance people have to be on hand, and all the broadcasters, and at least a few journalists. So it's not a simple thing to just reopen. So we don't really know. Based on what we know right now, I do believe that there is a possibility that they can finish the Premier League, but only by postponing the start of the following season fairly substantially and allowing for a reasonable amount of sort of training, pre-season type training before they restart playing. And because otherwise you're going to have 3 weeks of training and playing 2 games a week, and you know how many players are going to get injured. It's a disaster. There is the slight legal issue, of course, of player contracts expiring at the end of June. I'll let Morgan and Martin talk more about that if they like, because I don't really know what the laws are in the UK and in Europe in terms of them being able to mandatorily extend those contracts. I don't know if there is any precedent for that at all. But obviously, a player that's out of contract at the end of June, if they extend the season, may or may not be willing to continue playing, and that's another issue. So I do think there's a chance that they could finish the league. So I don't think they can call it yet. If they do have to abandon this season and not complete the league, then of course, as an Everton fan, everyone expects me to say, yay, then Liverpool doesn't win the title. But I have to be honest, Liverpool by far, and I hate to say this, I know I'm going to throw up after this podcast for saying this, but they were by far the best team. They are so far ahead. It was just a matter of when they would clinch the league. It would really be an injustice if they scrapped the season and did not give Liverpool the opportunity to win the title. And again, I can't believe I'm actually saying this. So one thought that I had was, given we don't know if this COVID-19 is going to come back, second waves, third waves, what if they were to combine this sort of rump season with a rump season next year and turn the 2 years into a single season? Come up with some sort of a mechanism where you carry over half your points from this season into next season and start next season sort of that way, so that Liverpool probably wins the league anyway. That's just my thought, and I'm interested to hear what the others have to say.
Okay, Martin, what do you think?
Well, I'd hate to see them, in some ways, I'd hate to see them cancel the season, but perhaps they will, and perhaps they should. I think this is going to go on for some months. I think if there's a second wave, as is being predicted by most people, then possibly next season doesn't start in August when it's supposed to start. If it's not going to start till, say, October, November, there's no way to finish this season. I would declare the season done. I would declare Liverpool the champions because they deserve to be. Relegation is a bit of an issue, but I'm going from memory here, but I think the bottom couple of teams are well behind the others. And it's probably fair to say they could go. Although I like Mark's idea, actually, of combining 2 seasons into one, because I'm really sure next season is going to be an issue too, for various reasons. As for players' contracts, I can't see that there's any way to mandatorily extend them. Those are legal contracts. And so trying to carry on the season after June, when some people have left, is really bizarre. I don't think it makes any sense to do it. So I would, I think, declare the season dead. And as I said, Liverpool champions. And the hard part is figuring out what to do about Champions League and Europa League and relegation. But I don't think there's any doubt about Liverpool, and I don't think the season is viable. That's my thought.
And Morgan.
Well, I mean, there's some things I agree with. One is I would agree with terminating the season right now and declaring Liverpool as champions. And not just for the fact that Liverpool have an insurmountable lead and it was only a matter of time, but because Liverpool have 82 points. On 82 points, there are previous iterations of the top flight that you would have won the league. You could have won the league on 76 points one year, I believe. So Liverpool have enough points to have won the title in previous seasons, and they've got an insurmountable lead. You award Liverpool the title. The Champions League places is much harder to do because now you've got an either truncated or kind of abdicated or deferred transfer period. You have Manchester City, who realistically are on a transfer ban. So how do you do that with a change in transfer timelines? You couldn't merge the seasons together with the transfer ban on Man City. That would be a little, I don't know how you'd actually function that one. So in my mind, what you do is award Liverpool the title, ban Manchester City from any cup competition, including Europe. That would be a big enough financial penalty. Not that it really matters in the grand scheme of things. They'll just get money dumped in anyway. The hardest thing with how to solve the end of the season is what to do about relegation, right? Because you get 3 teams on 27 points, separated by 3 goals and goal differential. So the obvious answer is you just relegate West Ham. That's the straightforward, easiest thing to do. Promotion is much harder because obviously you've got all these teams that going into the start of March, including my precious Brentford, we're all within a shout of expecting playoff spots, and the money from playoff spots, the TV from playoff spots, and then of course the beautiful parachute payment from the Premier League just for getting in. So, and the playoffs, I don't know how many people have ever gone to a match at Wembley in the playoffs. It's fun. It's even as a neutral, it's fun. So I think that they do have to have some kind of wind up, but that wind up has to occur before July 1st when contracts are void and players are free, and also so that you can have a training session. Mikel Arteta has been very vocal on the need for a proper 6-week preseason. The problem is if you take most clubs, especially Arsenal, they gave players 6 weeks vacation. So that means between end of the season and start of the next season is 12 weeks. It doesn't exist. So what do you give up? Do you give up proper preseason training, part of all of their players' vacation, a little bit of both? It's going to be an absolute mess. And who knows who's going to come back healthy and in what state, right? Anyone that's been training with Jose Mourinho in the park, they're probably doing okay. Other people that have been training at home by themselves, they might have had a couple extra of these. So there's no good answer, I think. But I think my preference is no matter what, Liverpool gets the title, just for the sake of awarding the title for what they've deserved. And you do have to play out a little bit for the sake of relegation, promotion, and then just outright ban Man City because it's fun to do.